All right. And just like that, we're live on the air. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I am super stoked about tonight's meeting. It's a Zoom meeting. Tonight's episode, Paragliding Talk is now in grand Dior mode. We have a special guest live all the way from around the other side of the planet. He is right now in Austria, Mike Kremer. He's a test pilot from Airdesign. And many of you guys know Airdesign. If you're in the paramotoring, you know about the Easy, you know the Vivo. If you are a free flight guy and you're passionate about coastal flying, you probably have a Susie. Or maybe you're a mountain guy and you just love the Susie. A lot of guys that do acro love the Susie. There's some new wings. We're going to talk about those. Super excited about that. Mike Kremer works hand in hand with the owner, Stefan Stiegler, and has over the years grown into a juggernaut of a person when it comes to paragliding and knowing what it needs to look like, knowing how it needs to fly, knowing what's going to be safe, and knowing what's going to be effective to win the prize in some of the competitions that are there locally. So you're not going to want to miss a single second of this episode. I'm super stoked about this. Mike, again, I really appreciate you coming on. And so the first question I asked him was, so did you stay up all night? Because it's 3 o'clock for him, or at 3 o'clock in the morning, or did you get up early? He said he went to bed early and he woke up early. He said he got 5 hours of sleep. Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to mention just a couple sponsors real quick before we dive into this, and we're going to give you the most time we can. One of those sponsors is PBG Smoke. PBGsmoke.com is the website. They have all kinds of great stuff for whether it's paramotoring or free flight. You're really going to enjoy their website. All kinds of great details on there. There's some new updates, by the way, coming out soon. So stay tuned. You can also check out those details on PPG Smoke's Instagram. He'll typically drop updates as they come. Also want to mention paramotorprops.com. They are a great sponsor of the show. If you blow up a prop by accident, you know, these new props are not as strong as the old ones, right? Because the old wooden ones, you could beat them up pretty bad, but the new ones are really lightweight and made out of carbon fiber. And if you hit the smallest rock when you're foot dragging, you know, you're going to have to pay for that. And you'll have to, or if you jump in your seat like I do, you'll have to buy props all the time. When I buy my props, I buy them from paramotorprops.com. They're a great deal and you'll get them quick. Also, the local sponsor here in San Diego, California is American Allied Drains and Plumbing. If you're in the San Diego area, you can reach out to those guys at 844-777-9055 for all your plumbing needs. And also, in case you have flood or restoration needs, American Allied Drains and Plumbing is your service company. And also, if you mention Paragliding Talk, you'll get a 10% discount on your plumbing. And so reach out to them at that phone number. So appreciate you, Mike. Really stoked about tonight's show. Let's talk about how you got into the sport. Give a little background on how in the world, I mean, test pilots to me are like the coolest guys on the planet. And there's only a handful of them. And we got one on the show tonight. Tell me a little bit about how you got into the sport.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Michael. Hi, Robert.
My teachers do that to me all the time. Everyone does that. Don't worry.
Early morning. Yeah. So, thanks for having me. And being test pilot, let's say it's for me it started like I live in an area where some brands are located. So some years ago I was flying a lot of acro, and let's say I was doing like shift time, like I was working in the morning and in the evening, but on the day I was pretty much off, so I had to spend a lot of time flying. And of course you always meet the people on the takeoff, and one day like Stefan Stiegler from Airdesign asked me, like, you know, they just started Airdesign in 2011, so he actually was working before with the UP and Airwave and designer for them. But 2011 he split and started to grow his own business with Martin Gostner. They called it Airdesign. And I think 2012, they just asked me, see you all the time on the mountain. Do you have time to just fly with us for photo shooting with a new glider? I said, yeah, of course. So I went there for flying also with them, doing some pictures, and I just gave them my feedback to the glider already, like brake pressure, this and that. And they asked me more and more. So you have time there, you have time there. I told them, yeah, of course, daytime I'm mostly free, so no problem. Let me know if you need help. I was driving a car for the other test pilot and at that time. And yeah, so I started to grow and I started to test with them in 2013. Then 2014, also 2015, I made my certification with a EN standard 926-2, so official test pilot for a certification center. And since the 1st of January and 2016, I'm fully employed with Airdesign. Before it was just part-time. Like 2015 was part-time, 14, 15 was part-time, 13. And yeah. So I made my my test pilot training. And yeah, now I'm test pilot.
That's pretty amazing. Let's talk a little bit about the very beginning. So did you see some guys flying over in your backyard and you said, well, I'm going to do that? How did that go down?
No, my uncle is flying since 1987 or something like this. So I got in touch with that very early. But this was more ground handling and flying on little tiny moguls and yeah, a bit of soaring, but let's say not seriously flying. So I'm born in Germany, but I came over here to Austria in 2008. And let's say I had a colleague and he was like, I go flying tomorrow. I said like, nice, where can I borrow some gear? I come with you. And he said like, you have a license? And I said, no, but I can fly. And he said like, no, you can't fly if you don't have a license. And I said like, of course I can. I did this since I'm 16. Yeah. So what's the problem now?
Yeah.
And yeah, so he said like, no, I don't take you as long as you don't have a license. And I said, okay, then I go and make my license. So I just 2008 officially I made my license here, but I was flying already years before. So, but let's say small flights.
Yeah. That's awesome.
From takeoff to landing.
And your uncle played a part in that. Did he provide you gliders? How did you get something to fly?
No, actually you just yeah, of course you go there, you do some ground handling, you get some gear somewhere, and then you buy something from eBay, and then you have something like an old glider.
What was your first wing?
My first wing was an Hekra Karat. I don't know if you know this.
No.
It was purple. It was purple, and it's may some people know, but it wasn't gliding well. I tried to find a picture because I know somewhere I have one, but couldn't find it. Oh, maybe I can. I think
So let's talk a little bit about your role now. Whenever I hear the term test pilot, you always have to associate the term with like the test dummy, and you picture the guy. Remember the plastic doll that they put in crash? Yeah, I always picture the guy who's going to be flying. We're going to give you this wing, and if you survive, we'll know that it's a good wing, and they hand you a wing. How much of that feeling do you have when you're getting involved in your testing? Has there ever been a time when you got a wing and returned it and said, this thing has real problems, we need to make real adjustments?
Okay, that's a different story. As test pilot, you always get gliders and they're not perfect. So it's your job to make this glider fly, to make this glider good, to get it done. So let's say you always get a dirty raw diamond. So you have to make it nice, I also saw a question like the worst and the best. So we're already there at this point. Let's say you have you don't start like directly with full on. Sometimes it depends on the project. We start like on the training hill, like just see if it flies, ground handling, because also in ground handling you get a feeling of the glider. Is it aggressive glider? Is it smooth glider? Take off nice or not? And if everything is fine, you know, you check the lines and everything is fine, you go up the mountain and you fly, and then you go step by step. So you don't start with a full accelerated collapse. You go step by step, gentle. You know, you start with big ears. I have a video where what I can show you where I started like the first flight. And yeah, you go step by step. You know, it's like, because I don't like to store the reserve. It's the first question I always get is like, how often did you have to throw the reserve?
Yeah.
Until now, I have never thrown the reserve while testing, only with acro flying. And but
that's good.
Yeah.
Take us through some of the steps. So you start ground handling. Let's talk a little bit about when you get in the air. What are the things that you're looking for in the glider? What is the first things that you're saying, okay, I'm going to look at this to make this glider better?
Yeah, it's always you need to find the problems, or not the problems, the things you have to change to make them work nice. So the first thing is you take off, you get off the hill, get some height, and in this moment you already check the glider, look up, see, okay, which lines are on tension, which not. You know, if the C lines are loose or something, you check the speed. Of course, you check the takeoff behavior on takeoff. And also in the moment, just when you fly out straight, you can already get some impressions, you know, with the airs moving, how the glider behaves, you know, if it's pitching forward, hanging backwards, is it moving inside? If the structure is okay, is something loose inside, you know, sometimes should be loose, sometimes not. So it always depends on the design. And yeah, then you go out, you start gentle with big ears, you do small collapse. Like this, then what I do actually, like the first thing I forgot, because to me it's like the normal thing, is like checking the brake length, like where's the stall point. I don't do a full stall, I just go to the parachute point and see where it's, because this for me is the most important thing to know if I have a long brake travel or short, because I need to know this in case of, because I don't know what will happen next. If I do a bigger collapse, I need, in case I have a cravat or something, I need to know where the stall point is, how much I can hold the side to the glider to not make it spin or something like that.
Right.
That's actually the first thing I do. I fly out, check the speed, everything, check the lines, and then if I've got the height, first maneuver is actually always checking the brake length. And yeah, and then it depends. It's different. Sometimes you feel it. Let's say, the thing is, it comes with the time. It comes with it's learning by doing a lot, and then you feel already on the, let's say, on the entry of the collapse, I know already it will be aggressive or not. And let's say.
And how do you know that?
It's the behavior of the glider what tells you that. So if I do collapse already with what? I got some tools like in school.
Nice. I need one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are great.
Let's say when I do a collapse and I know already, look, it's already got the marks for testing.
Oh yeah.
Just to explain, because sometimes you see gliders with these marks.
Yeah.
Just if someone is interested, like we have the 50% collapse.
Yep.
Then we have 75. 75 is plus minus 2.5%. That's why a bit wider. So because let's say the 50% collapse is always like, should be 50% around, plus minus. Like
yep.
Always plus, minus is not allowed. And the 75%, it's quite hard to get it. Yeah, but this is how it should look like. And we have the front stall, it's the yellow one, 30% and 50% minimum. So 30% should be between 50 and 30, and 50 should be, if you do frontal collapse, should be over 50.
Wow.
So,
okay. Very
back
interesting.
to the testing. When I do a collapse and I feel like the glider is already collapsing like a lot like this, I know like, ooh, can be aggressive. It comes a bit more flat. It's mostly more gentle.
Okay.
But you can also, let's say, on SIV courses, sometimes people send me videos like, in the SIV course, like collapse was.
But the Volt 4 is cutting edge. It also, Airdesign had to know some things ahead of the game. They've got some inside information to be able to come out with that. That is cutting edge. It must be between you, Stefan Stiegler, and Marty Grossner. Is that his name? Grossner?
Martin, yeah.
Martin Grossner. These guys they must be incredible with design. But anyways, what was it that really stuck out to you about the Volt 4, and talk about that? This is probably the most exciting part of the show. We'll put the peak right here.
Yeah, let's say it's testing, like it's not always so easy. It's partly complicated and takes a long time. But for the Volts, it's by side we had a project with a glider with a more aspect ratio glider. We're still working on it. But at the moment, because it's winter time, we're not working that, because you need strong thermals and everything, because you need to really fly it. And like sled runs,
doesn't teach you much.
Doesn't make sense on glider like this.
Yeah, but let me reel this back a little bit, because most people probably won't know what the Volt 4 is. The Volt 4 is the first of its kind in that it is a C-rated two-liner glider. And typically what you would associate a two-liner with is very sketchy, but very good aspect ratio, very good glide ratio. The glider is a performance machine. It's going to be a competition glider. But yet now, because of some changes in standards and because of the new technologies and incredible design, we have these wings that are a two-liner with all of the benefits and all of the passive safety that you would want in a sea glider. Yeah. So incredibly sporty.
Yeah, let's say the Volt, it makes a difference because you have the Volt is designed to be an ENC glider. And to the background of this, Stefan Stiegler in the past already made very good performance gliders, but because Airdesign wasn't so famous at this time, so not many people knew about this. But we had early years, we had already flying Airdesign gliders in a lot of competitions. And yeah, they're already good. So, and with the Volt, let's say we knew since I think 2.5 years that there will come a change in the certification. And so we had already the time to work with that. You know, we had already a project with a higher aspect ratio. So we made next to it, we made a project with lower aspect ratio. We tried to make it to fit, like it's not, how you say, castrated. We say we didn't push the END glider into a ENC category. We seriously made an ENC glider for the ENC category. So that makes a big difference. So yeah, for a lot of people, when they come, let's say when they're used to a high aspect ratio glider, CCC wing, they say like, hey man, Volt is so easy to fly. Why? And we say like, because it's designed as to be an ENC glider. Of course, it's a two-liner, and it's a real comp glider from that. And also at the moment, let's say we had people at Kupika, different other brands, they came along and shake hands and said like, hey guys, respect to the Volt because you made a seriously competitor to us, because we had to hold our glider back because we couldn't release because ours worked so well. So we know that people had our glider on the table already, but for us, let's say we didn't have anything to compare at this point. So we had to compare with the higher level gliders. We had to take the two-line gliders of the D and CCC category to compare. Of course, the Volt is designed to be an ENC glider, so it's not as fast as a CCC glider or a high-level D glider. And also, of course, somewhere, because it doesn't have the aspect ratio, it's cannot compete to an Enzo. But you have already all the benefits of a two-liner, so you can feel like the gliding, and everything. So it's took us a long time, but we knew this already 2 years before. So we were working on this project more or less 3 years, I think. Yeah, because it's
such an incredible glider. I think there's a handful of guys that are flying them here right now, and I'm very hopeful that I can get my hands on one to just play around at my local flying spot here when it stops raining. Right now, I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but it's raining really hard at my house right now. It's been raining all day. It's good because we need it. Very dry here. We're high desert. Nice. I want to just take a quick sponsor break. I want to mention a couple sponsors. One of those is Nebraska PBG, Josh Bowden. He runs a school in Nebraska. And so if you're in Nebraska and you're in that area, you want to sign up for training, now's the time. You could reach out to him through the links that are in the description. Also want to mention maxacro.com. Maxacro.com is the website. If you go to maxacro.com, you're basically going to find out the new schedule for all the SIV trainings and clinics that are coming up. There's going to be some overseas clinics that are going to be happening, and you're going to want to get on those. There's one that's going to be in Turkey that you won't want to miss. So check that out. Go to the website, maxacro.com. That's where I did my SIV, and I can't say anything bad about it at all. It is all good stuff. And what I took home from the SIV was just a whole wealth of courage that I didn't have before, because I really didn't understand the dynamics of my glider until I put it through its paces. And I can assure you that Max is one of the best instructors in the game. So you don't want to miss that. Maxacro.com is the website. Thanks for sharing that, Gringo. Will Fly donated $5 to the super chat. He said, Resurgence PBG rocks. Thanks, Will. And you are right. Also want to mention one other sponsor, that is iFly Indiana powered paragliding. If you're interested in flying paramotors, no better place to get proper training than iflyindiana.com. Kevin and his team will get your feet off the ground. That's iflyindiana.com. So, Mike, let's also, I want to encourage you, everyone here, if you're on Instagram, you can follow Mike on Instagram. That's how I connected with him. I saw a post on his Instagram. So if you know, if you have Instagram, check out his channel. There's a link in the description, or actually a link in the chat. We'll put it in the description as well. But go follow him. Pretty awesome. Mike doesn't just go out and put the test dummy outfit on and climb in a paraglider. He also has a fair amount of other things. So maybe let's talk about that, because Yankee Paramotor asked the question, how involved is Mike with the design process prior to analysis through testing? So maybe talk about that. Great question, Yankee.
We can also quickly answer the question of Anthony quickly before. So, because the question is like, is Mike testing for EN certification or research and development? I do the research and development, of course, because I belong to a brand. So I cannot test. I can test other brands, but I'm not allowed to test our brands, but I don't do, because I don't have the time. I have too much work with Airdesign. But theoretically, I could also test for the certification center.
Oh, no kidding.
But I because I made the certification to be by the EN norm. But my job is the research and development for Airdesign with Stefan Stiegler and the other guys, but I'm the right hand of Stefan Stiegler, so I'm the main test pilot for everything.
You were talking about reserves and also some line testing, things like that, right?
Yeah, everything like let's say I'm the of course we did also when we did the donut and everything. I go there, we do the drop tests before we go to certification and everything. So that's also my job. We do the lines, we break lines and everything. We also have the question here, how many lines can break before it severely impacts or doesn't fly anymore. So that belongs to the design. So, and also which line breaks. So if you have a break line, you can have 3 or 4 off, it doesn't matter, you can still fly.
Wow.
You can rip a glider a half and also would still fly. It depends where it rips. So
that's insane. I've seen some crazy videos. I have to mention a couple people that are donating to the super chat. Tori Pope donated $10 to the super chat. He said, get high, fly paramotors. John Wayne donated $10 to the super chat, and he's got a guy flying. Thank you guys for those contributions. I appreciate that. Your involvement is making the sport safer. And I would argue that a part of you is, you're putting some risk into your life. Let's talk a little bit about the risk management. And then I also want to talk about your personal flying and some of the things that you do for fun. So first, if you could talk about, how do you see what you're doing and what your team with Stefan Stiegler, what is it that you're bringing to the table through Airdesign that is making the sport safer and I would say better?
Yeah, that's actually a big story, because it's in the whole paragliding thing. Right now, we're on such a high level with the performance that it makes already a big difference if you fly more upright, which helmet you fly, which harness you fly, and everything. So it's very hard to get more performance, but we still can increase the safety. So there we are back at the Volt. The Volt is designed as ENC glider. Is on the beginning, we didn't know what to expect with testing, because two-liners can be tough, can be very tough. And let's say, but over the time we made it, and finally on the Volt, all of us in our test team were surprised, like, well, it's nice to handle for a two-liner. Like, it's partly easier than some high B wings. So let's say also with Suzy, for example, or all the gliders, we always try, you come to a level, you cannot increase the performance much more. So you start to focus on the safety, because this is what we generally like to do. Also, it's part of the designer, like Stefan Stiegler. He never likes to be on the edge for certification. Like, for example, also same for me, because for the ratings, I don't know if you know how certification works, but for the ratings, partly it's very wait, give me a second. I think I got it somewhere here also on my computer. Let's say when you just jump behind the glider, it may be accepted for the certification, but we don't want it, so we don't make a glider like this, because we don't like to have us jumping behind the glider, so we don't like to have our customers falling or jumping behind the glider. So that's why we just try to avoid this and don't do a glider like that. Sometimes it's hard work, of course it's hard work, but yeah.
Caleb Cope donated $10 to the super chat. He said, who is excited for Salton? I actually found out I may be able to go to that. So there's a change in plans for me. I may be able to go to the Salton Sea flying. He's referring to a local fly-in here in Southern California that paramotor people go from across the country, because most of the country is under snow, and it will be about 70 degrees Fahrenheit when we're there. So it'll be great. Couple of great questions just popped in the chat, and I can already tell that this show it is such a good episode that it's going to burn through so fast. I want to get to all these great questions. Here's another one. Gosh, there's two of them right here. Kevin Can Fly asked the question: are the lines on a two-liner thicker and stronger, or do they just minimize the line count?
It's both. It's both. So you have of course, because you do a lot with the inner structure, so you minimize the amount of lines, and of course you have less lines, so you need to make them thicker and stronger. So automatically, if they're thicker, they're stronger. Yeah, and of course to the gallery up high, let's say for a normal glider you have like 3 on every level. On a two-liner, of course, the C is missing, so or D. So you have A and B, and they split up there. They split again and split again, and of course they get thinner. For example, on the two-line glider, the most load is actually on the A. So you have, compared to a normal ENA B glider, you have very thick A lines. Yeah, we have a lot of questions also. Any rated paramotor wings? Of course,
Yes.
Airdesign has also rated paramotor wings. We had the Ramaflex, I think a lot of people know and maybe fly, because we sold a lot to the US. We have the Easy is certified beginner wing, and we have the Vivo.
I've seen a lot of
we
Vivos.
have had the Vita 2 before. And of course, I do also flying paramotor, and because I see this quite often with the paramotor here. The problem for us is we're also working on a new Ramaflex. We don't know when it will be finished, because we have the problem here in our area here where we live, or let's say in Austria. In this part of Austria, paramotor flying is forbidden. So
Wait,
this
what?
is why we always have to go somewhere else to
It's
do
forbidden?
it. And of course, yeah,
you can't fly a paramotor.
I can, but it's not allowed.
No kidding.
Yeah,
In Austria.
It's not everywhere in Austria. It's part, and
Why is that?
I have no idea, but it's
No kidding.
let's say we always have to drive somewhere, and
What's
also
the penalty?
Yeah, and
what do they what is the penalty if you fly a paramotor in Austria if you get caught?
I don't know. They never caught me yet, so can't tell you.
Yeah, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, but officially, you're let's say there's a special rule, so you have to make let's say it's a gray zone here. So you have to take off with all the paramotor gear somewhere on a hill. In flight, you can start it, and before landing, you have to shut it off 300 meters over ground.
Wow.
So, but this makes it a bit difficult, because we need to take off from the ground to see how the takeoff behavior is, because this is where you take off your paramotor.
Yeah.
And so we mostly have to go to Italy. So 1.5 hours drive or 2 hours drive to go somewhere where it's allowed, or to Germany. And yeah, let's say the problem is when we need to do changes like trimming. Of course, like being test pilot is not just trimming, is also I do a lot of sewing and everything, inner construction and stuff like that. So
wow,
it's hard to take all the gear you need. So we go somewhere, do something, then, and it's more like a side project when we go somewhere else. And about the safety, you had the question of testing over land or water. Of course, we test a lot over water, and but I do also, to be honest, I do a lot of testing over ground. Depends on the glider. For example, like fully accelerated collapses on a C wing or D wing, I don't do over ground. This is also first. Yeah, let's say you're so used to the maneuvers, you never know what to expect. But yeah, to be honest, I'm up to a high level B wing. I do mostly over ground. And yeah, I do have 2 reserves. And it also depends on the glider. On the beginning, I always have 2 reserves. And you should have 2 reserves, but sometimes depends on the weight and size of the glider. So I can't check the smaller sizes when I have 2 reserves because I get too heavy already. And yeah, about the question of duck spit PPG, Robert Michaels. So humidity is bad for one of the wing. Cold, freeze, and dry. For testing, it makes a big difference because, like, when we have it colder here than -5 degrees, we actually don't do much testing. Like, we always have to wait for a sunny day because when the temperature is too cold, the air gets too aggressive, and the let's say the maneuvers are. You cannot say anymore what's correct or not, because some are maneuvers better, some gets worse. So it's different to say. Humidity, of course, if you have like a high humidity, is, in my opinion, the gliders are mostly nicer. Like, they have a nicer opening behavior and everything.
I agree. We talk about that often here on the high pressure days with low humidity. The gliders are violent. Your thermals are violent. Your timing, sometimes the edges are very sharp, but when there's a higher humidity, much smoother, wider, nice, smooth thermals. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's the same with the behavior of the with the glider on the extreme maneuvers. It's also smoother, nicer. Yeah, cold, freezing, and dry. So in general, about the bad for the wing, you should always dry your gliders. So, because let's say they have the coating, and it's not nice for the coating, and also they can get mold, the gliders, if they're too wet. So if you were flying on the sea, just afterwards or somewhere where you dropped it in the water somewhere, just make sure it's dry, or you maybe had a gentle rain. When you come home, just open it up and leave it there for a few hours or a day, and then repack it.
What's your go-to wing when you go fly? When you said, I'm just going to go and fly for fun.
It's different. Yesterday it was this one.
What is that?
It's an UFO. It's a single skin.
It's a little tiny thing. Gosh.
Yeah, it's a special size. I only have one. It's a 10 square meter.
Wow. That's speed flying. Where are you flying that? Just down the hill?
Yeah, I can just, behind me is a hill, and we just have the takeoff from the flight school here. It's like 500 high meters, and sometimes I just go for a hike and fly from there and land behind the house. So
what? Wait, hold on. Yeah. You can land in your backyard?
Almost, yeah.
The backyard,
like,
it's all
like
mountains, dude.
50 meters, 50 meters.
What?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And I need some videos.
All you free flight guys always move, buy a house near the mountain.
Yeah, that's why I bought my house where it's at. Wow. That's great. So that little...
we have a nice question.
Okay, hold on. Tell me how you came up with that glider. Did you make that?
Yeah, it's a single skin glider of our UFO, and it's a 10 square meter special custom thing. It's a prototype and leftover, but we use it for flying because it flies very nice. But it's yeah, let's say it's special.
Is that going to come out into are you going to manufacture that wing, or is it still in testing?
The goal on the UFO was to make a certified wing. And let's say like size 10 is a bit too dynamic, partly.
Oh yeah.
Like especially the full stall and everything, it's already.
Oh
yeah.
I can't.
For example, on the UFO, on the single skin, we made all the research and development while the Corona. it was a perfect wing at this time because all gondolas were closed. We had to drive a lot with the car. We had to hike a lot. So it was nice to have some small packing gear. And yeah, so I did all the testing except from size 13. Collapses I did overground, but only on the full stall. I skipped with size 14 because I said there we need to go over water because it was
14.
on one point. Yeah, we have a certified single skin in size 13. I need to check what's the rating because it's too many stuff I already forget. Yeah, but let's say there is a point where I have to say stop because I did all the testing over ground because everything else was closed. So there we were waiting for the right day to make it over water. Oh, there's a question.
Hot Buttered Steve donated $10 to the super chat. He said, "Hey, Mike," he said, "I remember when I was a fetus and used to sneak out at night when mother was sleeping. I thought,
Yeah,
now's the time I should start stealing stuff since I don't have any fingerprints." Hot Buttered Steve.
yeah. Paramotor, like.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
But
man.
there's a funny story. I was doing motocross races in my, let's say when I was younger, and we had a friend with a motorbike and he lost his exhaust and the guy just went there, grabbed it and it was burning into his fingers, so he was shaking it off because it's so hot. I think he also lost his
Fingerprints.
fingerprints.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. There was another question in the chat. I think you were gonna ask that or answer that from Caleb. He said, "Question for Mike: with all the testing and the wild situations that you've encountered, what makes you nervous in flight now?"
Yeah, that's a very good question. Like, let's say when you do this every day, it's like you start the maneuver already different. So let's say it's different having a collapse in the wild than having a collapse while testing mentally, because at the moment when I fly out there and I've got my height, I know what I'm doing, let's say, and I know what to expect, what will happen next, and what could be the worst situation. So you also do the maneuvers up high where like you can get twisted or something. So it happens quite often. You get wingtip tangled or got not often, but sometimes, and you just handle it different. It's different. But to be honest, like being test pilot is a very mental thing. We had test pilots. They started being test pilot because they think it's a cool job. Of course, it's a cool job. You're always outside, always in the air, but you fly also in situations like wind conditions when it's not so nice anymore. And also, like I said, it's mentally, because you go there. Yeah, let's say the glider shoots a lot. You jump between the lines, and it's not an SIV course. It's not finished at that moment. At that moment, your work starts. So you need to know, I need to make a change now. First thing, I need to reproduce the collapse again and see if the same thing happens, or was it your own fault? But this is why we have the marks for, to see if we're too big or too small. And then, okay, the glider is whatever, you jump behind the lines, and now it's your job to change this. So you go on landing, do trim change, or sometimes for me, because I do it so long, I also know we need to change something inside. So we can do this partly. I can do this on the landing field also already. I made a special tool for that. And yeah, then you have to go up again. And then you need to know, this is a mental moment, this is what makes you maybe not nervous, but this is what's hard, because you go outside, you fly, and at this moment, okay, I had big shit going on before, and now I have to try again if it will happen again, or if it's better. So if it happened again, you have to do it again to confirm it. It is like this.
Wow.
And so we go back, and this is a mental thing what's quite hard. So what some people, they think they can be test pilot, they don't handle.
Do you
Because
get
for
nervous?
some people, they already get nervous if they just have a collapse in free flight somewhere, and there you need to know it's sometimes can't be funny, you know. But yeah, that's the opposite.
Man, these questions are incredible tonight. You're the first test pilot that we've had on the show, by the way. So the people are going crazy, and I think we've had the highest presence in people that we've had in a while on the show. So you brought a crowd with you tonight.
Thank you.
Or this morning. There is good. Sean's logging in. Sean's he's been dealing with COVID, so he's another moderator. He's going to join us. He's normally with us each time. The question just came up from Matthew Pesci. He said, in your opinion, has glider technology hit a plateau, or do you see major advancements in safety and performance in the future?
We can improve a lot on the safety in the future. This is a fact that will come. You will see in the future future glider. We have a glider what will come, what we will announce next week. So on the 15th, you will see.
Oh, really? Where can we hear this announcement?
Instagram, Airdesign. I will post it our website. You will see.
Okay, Instagram. I'm going to check that out for sure.
Let's say it's the same. It's just a new glider, but you will see by the ratings. Let's say it doesn't lost this thing. His playful, very nice handling, everything, but we could increase the safety. You will see by the thing. I will tell you more, so you will check out next week.
Oh man!
But
come on.
It's already the things in the back, because I had to fly all the sizes to check if everything is correct.
Wow.
And yeah, but
can you give us? You can't give us a name?
No. You will see. It's very soon. But the thing is, like, let's say we have it's very hard, like I said before, to make a big step in performance. Let's say the lower classes will rise higher now, but in the CCC or D class, it will be different to make a big step. This is always very tiny. I think right now you can see with the new ozone harness. This is more what will come with the harnesses and everything, where also pilots can improve. So if you like to have, my advice, if you like to have better performance, look for your harness. Look about your position, what you sit. But if you like to have more performance, the harness has a very, very big impact. Also, like comparisons, sometimes people compare like apple and pears or apple and plums.
Yeah.
Because you have, like, for example, a very nice harness like the Gingini Race or something, and then you have and lightness, and the fairing makes a big difference in
aerodynamics.
Aerodynamics. I don't know the English word, but it has a very big impact. So it can make 1 point in the glide ratio, like if you have a fairing or not, maybe more. Open harness always. Sometimes it's a very nice thing. Gliders with the open harness, like a sitting harness. Gliders, the same glider is faster because you have more drag, so the glider gets faster. And in the performance, of course, it's not so much drag, but of course you have speed and you have the glide. But between a sitting harness and a good competition pod harness, there is a huge change. For example, when we do comparison, like we're just to tell you how what can make a difference. So before, when we do comparison, we have to check we have exactly the same weight, plus minus 1 kilo. So, you know, this is what we should have. Same size of the glider, same size of the harness, same sitting adjustment. So one should not sit straight and the other lay like that, because that makes a difference already. Sometimes when in the comparison, when, you know, we make very long glides and everything to see when it's very just a tiny gap, and, you know, sometimes it's just enough to put your hands out, you know, like this, to make some drag to get you leveled again. So this is
wow.
you just, the easiest way to understand is when you're driving your car next time, just put your hand out the window like that.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got to
You will
interrupt.
see how much
I
drag
think
this
he's frozen.
is. So
He's frozen
it makes already
on-
a big difference if you sit in your harness like this or like this.
Yeah.
In a pod harness, in a sitting harness, I don't know, but in a pod harness.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Oh, there we go. It's cleared now. He was frozen for about a minute or two. His video, but
no, he wasn't frozen on my end, so it's on yours.
no, because I asked in the chat and they're saying yes,
That he's frozen.
but they can still hear him. Or something.
Oh yeah, just his screen.
Okay,
yeah,
he's
that
back.
happened. It happened a couple times.
Okay, it's catching up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Go ahead.
Yes, that's
back
so,
now. Let's say I see.
There's a couple more questions in there too.
Yeah, I see. I have the YouTube here, but I cannot. But you're always posting here. You see this, so I cannot follow so fast. About the question.
By the way, Mike, you're doing an incredible job, because normally we field the questions and you're just handling them all live. And so thank you for doing that. You made our moderator's job really easy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. you took over for them. We don't even need the moderators tonight. You could just take the night off.
It's
perfect. Thank you, Robert.
It's not the first time that I'm doing this, but to be honest, I'm super happy because you just collect the questions here, so I can see it there.
Yeah.
And
they make it really easy for the show. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, guys.
This is a great time to take a quick break. I know we've got 5 minutes left. There's a couple sponsors I want to mention, and also Sean's going to spin the wheel, and we're going to give away a t-shirt tonight. So paraglidingtalk.com. So if you want to get the wheel ready, and then I want to mention the sponsors. Lone Star Paramotor. LoneStarParamotor.com is the website. If you're in the Lone Star state of Texas, you can reach out to Ron Turan if you want to learn how to paramotor there. He's got some really good training platforms and some really good instructors. So you're going to enjoy that. Go check out their website, LoneStarParamotor.com. Reach out to Ron Turan. Supposedly he's going to be coming to San Diego. I'm trying to convince him to come and hang out with me. We'll see if that happens. He's got some family businesses he's going to take care of. But stay tuned. Ron Turan is going to come on the show very soon. We're going to talk all about paramotoring and the fun of the sport. The spin of the wheel is brought to you by Calamity Kite Clinic. That's Sean's ground handling school. If you want to sign up with him, you can reach out to Sean through a link at his website, which is calamitykiteclinic.com. Yep. Oh, I'm going to win. It's me.
Yeah. I don't know, bud. I don't know. It's close.
It passed me by. It passed me by.
Ooh, it's a nail biter tonight. Oh.
Yep. Oh man, hot buttered. You know, hot buttered Steve offered to spin the wheel for you, Sean, when you were gone. He's we're gonna hire him as the backup. Caleb
Koch.
Congratulations,
Caleb Koch.
Caleb Koch, what I need you to do is reach out to me on the website, paraglidingtalk.com/contact. Put your information in there. And what I need is your shirt size, and also the shirt size, and then your address, so I can ship that to you. Wilson donated $10 to the super chat. He said, speaking of t-shirts, I wanted to pay you back for shipping one last week. Wilson, thank you so much, man. You don't have to do that. I appreciate that contribution to the show. Winner chicken dinner, Caleb Koch. Also, one other sponsor I want to mention is Resurgence PPG. So if you're interested in supporting our men and women of uniform, you can do that by making a tax-deductible donation to resurgenceppg.com. By donating, you're sponsoring those who put their lives on the line for your freedom. You can reach out to Todd Scandrett at resurgenceppg.com. Mike, you were just at the Coupe Car. If you guys don't know about the Coupe Car, it's a huge flying festival. And talk a little bit about that.
It's the biggest trade fair. Look, I have the mug already today. It's
Nice.
the biggest trade fair and showing everything. So it's like you have base jumpers, you have wingsuit guys, you have paramotoring, you have like the parabatics that they do. I always watch this. I really like it because, as I said, I also do paramotoring, but like, let's say they're flying so tiny wings, like 14 square meters, and they're so fast around the, I say, poles and everything. And
Yeah. Pylons.
Like, let's say, I also fly sportive, but I never do it so close over the ground. And yeah, I really like this. I really enjoy that. We have some other questions here because also, if you have questions about testing everything, like I said, I'm not just doing the paraglider testing. Also, I'm do the other stuff if you got questions. Yeah.
Paramotoring questions.
A nice questions. What piece of advice would you give to newly minted pilots? Dankeschön. Do more ground handling.
That's a good one.
Handling. And a very big thing is like there's a gap. Like when you start paragliding, you're always a bit shy. Then you don't get shy. Then you start to, like let's say there comes a curve, like how you mentally start growing in paragliding and like your skills growing in paragliding, and your skills never grow that fast like your like you mentally do. And this is why you should just sometimes be shy. Don't fly if you're not 100% sure. Don't be too shy, but there are moments when you see people fly, they fly a long time and it's just too much for you. Maybe just stay back, wait a half of an hour or something until the wind is nice. Don't hesitate to do too much.
We're at the end of the show. We are going to go to the after show, so we're gonna go off the air. But you are welcome to join us. There's if you're in the chat, we're going to put the links into the descriptions or into the chat so that you can join the after show if you have a couple questions for Mike. It's very early in the morning for him, so I'm not sure if he's going to stick around for long. But you're welcome to come in.
No. So just an information. So
yes.
I also trained the first check center in Turkey, for example. I showed them how to repair gliders and do trim things and everything. And also, I don't know if it's possible to do. You already join the Zoom meeting. So yeah, just join the Zoom meeting.
Yeah. And then if you wanted to reach out to Mike, you can do that through Instagram. If that's okay, Mike, we'll put the Instagram link in the description and in the chat.
Just sometimes if I don't answer directly, it's I'm not always online. Also, I deleted my Facebook from my phone and everything, and I'm not online so often. So if sometimes it takes 1-2 days to get an answer. I always try to put a story, but when I have a question, I just take my time to also answer the question.
Yeah, and thank you again for responding to me.
Like I said, I'm always outside and everything, so it's in between the door. Sometimes it's difficult. So I just wait until I have 15-20 minutes or half an hour to think and everything, and then I answer the questions.
I love it. I'm super stoked. Hopefully we can keep the relationship going. Maybe you can come to San Diego, come hang out with us. It's a beautiful place to get away. Maybe make some plans. You're welcome to, you can stay with us if you come over. Also, there's many people here in Southern California I know would be open to hanging out with you.
Thank
Also,
you.
I know this guy's famous, guys. I'm telling you, he told me pre-show that he has Kriegel Mauer's phone number. Guy hangs out with him. He was with him the other day, and if you don't know who that is, you need to do some research. He's probably the best paraglider pilot on the planet, and that's not super dope. It's incredible. What Mike, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on the show. We're gonna go to the after show. We'll answer some more questions, and if I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in there. Thanks for watching tonight.